Welcome to Captain English Podcast. I'm Paul, and I'm super excited to be here with my fantastic co-host, Alice.
Thanks, Paul. And I'm Alice. It's great to be back with all of you, our amazing listeners. We've got a really interesting topic today that I think everyone can relate to, and it's fantastic for practicing your English.
Absolutely, Alice. Before we dive deep, I was just thinking about something really random this morning. Do you ever just out of nowhere get a flash of a memory from when you were tiny, like something really specific?
Oh, all the time, Paul. Just yesterday, I saw a bright red balloon floating away in the park, and it instantly took me back to my 5th birthday party. I remember holding on to this huge red balloon, and it slipped out of my hand and just went up, up, up into the sky. I cried for hours, I think.
That's such a vivid memory. See, that's exactly what I mean. Mine was about the smell of freshly cut grass. It reminded me of playing football in my backyard every summer evening until it got too dark to see the ball. It was pure joy.
Pure joy. That's a lovely way to put it. And that, dear listeners, leads us perfectly into our topic for today. How to talk about your childhood memories. It's such a rich area for conversation, whether you're chatting with a new friend, family, or even just writing in a journal. And it's an amazing way to practice and improve your English.
Exactly, because when you talk about your childhood, you're not just speaking English, you're sharing a part of yourself. You're using descriptive language, past tenses, telling a story. It's a full package. So Alice, where do you think is a good starting point for someone who wants to share a childhood memory in English?
That's a great question, Paul. I think the easiest way to start is to think about a specific type of memory. Maybe a happy one, a funny one, or even a slightly embarrassing one. Happy memories are often the easiest to share because they bring positive emotions. Think about your first pet, a favorite holiday, or a special toy.
That's true. My first pet was a hamster named Squeaky. I remember I used to spend hours just watching him run on his wheel. See, used to is a great phrase for talking about habits or things you did regularly in the past.
Yes, used to is perfect. Another common one is, I remember when, or one time when I was little. These are simple phrases that clearly tell your listener, hey, I'm about to tell you a story from my past. For example, I remember when I first learned to ride my bike without training wheels.
Oh, that's a classic childhood memory. And it brings up an important point, using the correct past tenses. Most of the time, you'll be using the simple past. I went, I played, I saw. But sometimes the past continuous is helpful for setting the scene or describing actions that were happening around your main event. For example, while I was riding my bike, my dad was running beside me.
Exactly. The past continuous helps paint a picture of the background activity. And sometimes you might even use would for repeated actions in the past, similar to used to. Like, every summer we would go to my grandparents' farm, or my sister and I would always build huge forts in the living room.
That's a subtle but powerful distinction. Would feels a bit more narrative, doesn't it? It invites the listener into the story. So, we've got the opening phrases and we've got the tenses. What about making the memory interesting? Because just saying, I went to the park isn't super engaging.
You're absolutely right, Paul. This is where descriptive language comes in. Think about using adjectives and adverbs. Instead of just, I went to the park, you could say, I vividly remember going to the huge green park on a sunny afternoon. Add details about what you saw, heard, smelled, or even tasted. Engage the senses.
Sensory details are crucial, like the air smelled sweet like freshly baked cookies from my grandma's kitchen, or I could hear the distant sound of an ice cream truck. These little touches make your story come alive for the listener.
Precisely. And don't forget emotions. How did you feel? Were you excited, scared, happy, curious? I felt a surge of excitement when I saw the carousel. Or, I was a little bit scared of the big slide, but my friend dared me to go down. Sharing your emotions makes the memory more relatable.
Relatability is key, isn't it? Even if the specific event is unique to you, the emotion behind it, excitement, fear, joy, is universal. So, let's try a quick example. Alice, can you share a memory using some of these tips?
Okay, let me think. I remember when I was about 6 years old. My family would always go camping by a big lake every summer. One specific evening, my dad and I were sitting by the campfire and it was getting quite dark. We were telling ghost stories and the crackling fire sounded really loud in the quiet forest. Suddenly, we heard a strange noise from the trees, and I felt so scared that I jumped right into my dad's lap. It turned out to be just a little squirrel, but at that moment it felt like a monster.
Haha, that's brilliant, Alice. You used would always go, were sitting, was getting, were telling, sounded really loud, and felt so scared. Plus, the squirrel twist at the end makes it really funny and relatable. Perfect example.
Thanks, Paul. And that's the point, isn't it? It's not about perfect grammar every single time, but about trying to add those details and emotions. Learners often worry too much about making mistakes, but the goal is to communicate and share your story.
Absolutely. And speaking of communication, if you're finding these tips helpful for your English learning journey, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. It really helps us out, and it makes sure you don't miss any future episodes of Captain English.
Yes, please subscribe. It's how we know you're enjoying what we do. So, moving on. We've talked about positive memories. What about slightly less positive ones? Maybe a funny mistake or something a bit clumsy.
Oh, I have tons of those. One time, when I was probably 8, I was trying to impress my older brother by doing a really cool trick on my skateboard. I was going really fast down the driveway, and I tried to jump over a small puddle. Well, I misjudged it completely, and instead of jumping, I splashed right into the middle of it. I ended up covered in mud, and my brother laughed so hard he almost fell off his own skateboard.
Oh no! That sounds hilarious now, but I bet it wasn't at the time. You used, was going, misjudged, splashed, ended up, and laughed so hard. All great simple past and continuous actions. And the emotion of embarrassment leading to laughter for your brother. That's a perfect example of how a slightly embarrassing memory can be really entertaining to share.
Yeah, those kinds of memories often become the best stories later on. It's a way of showing your human side, you know? And it opens up opportunities for others to share similar experiences, which is great for conversation practice.
Exactly. So, let's recap some of the key phrases we've discussed. I remember when, one time, when I was little, I used to, we would always. My favorite memory is, and starting with descriptive words like, I vividly remember.
And the grammar points focus on the simple past for main events, past continuous for background actions, and used to or would for repeated actions or habits. Don't stress too much, just try to get the general idea across.
And remember to add those crucial details. What did you see, hear, smell, feel? Who was there? What was the weather like? The more details, the richer and more engaging your story becomes. It makes the listener feel like they're right there with you.
Another thing to consider is the order of events. Try to tell your memory in a logical sequence, beginning, middle, and end. It doesn't have to be a perfect movie script, but a clear flow helps your listener follow along. For instance, first this happened, then that, and finally this was the result.
That's an excellent point about structure, Paul. It's like building a mini-story, and you don't need to overthink it. Often, just recalling it as it comes to you will naturally follow a sequence. What about prompting yourself if you're stuck? Sometimes it's hard to pick one memory out of so many.
Great idea, Alice. You could ask yourself, what was my favorite toy? What was the funniest thing a family member did? What was my favorite game? Where did I go on holiday? What was my first day of school like? Or even, what was something I was really proud of doing as a child?
Those are fantastic prompts. My favorite toy was a very worn-out teddy bear. He was called Mr. Snuggles, and he had lost one of his eyes, but he was still my absolute best friend. I used to take him everywhere with me.
See, that immediately gives us a sense of your childhood. A teddy bear named Mr. Snuggles who lost an eye. It's specific and evokes emotion, and it's natural. We're not using complicated words, just honest ones.
That's really the core of it for English learners. Don't feel like you need to use big, complex vocabulary. Simple, clear language with good descriptive words and a bit of emotion goes a very long way. Focus on being understood and on sharing your experience genuinely.
And remember, practicing telling these stories is a fantastic way to build fluency. The more you tell them, the more natural the past tenses will become. The more easily the descriptive words will come to mind. It's like building muscle memory for your language skills.
Absolutely. Try telling the same memory to a few different people. You'll notice how it changes slightly, how you might add different details or simplify others depending on your listener. That's real-life practice right there.
It truly is. So, to wrap things up, we encourage all of you, our wonderful Captain English listeners, to think about one childhood memory today. Just one. And try to describe it to a friend, or even just say it out loud to yourself. Use some of the phrases and tips we talked about.
Yes, start small. Maybe just one sentence. I remember when I had a tiny blue bicycle. Then add another. My dad would push me really fast, and so on. You'll be amazed at how quickly you can build a little story.
It's all about practice, and childhood memories are such a great, personal, and inexhaustible source of material for that practice. Thanks so much for joining us on Captain English today, Alice.
It was my pleasure, Paul, and thank you everyone for listening. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. It helps other learners find us. We'll be back soon with more English learning tips.
Until next time, keep practicing, keep speaking, and keep sharing your amazing stories. Goodbye.